Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just concluded his working visit to the US. New Delhi's concerns on Bangladesh figured in bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Donald Trump. During a joint presser with Prime Minister Modi, when asked about whether there was any US deep state involvement in Bangladesh, here's what Trump said. Well, there was no role for our deep state. This is something that the Prime Minister has been working on for a long time and has worked on for hundreds of years. Frankly, I have been reading about it, but I will leave Bangladesh to the Prime Minister. So, how should one construe Trump's comment on Bangladesh? To discuss that, we have with us Salah Uddin Shoaib Choudhury, a Dhaka-based counter-terrorism expert and the editor of Weekly Blitz magazine. Welcome to Sputnik India, sir. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mashiriji.
Sir, I'll cut to the chase and begin by asking you the first question. Trump said that he would leave the Bangladesh question to PM Modi. To you, does it signal a difference in approach from the previous Biden administration, which was seen as more interventionist on the issue of Bangladesh?
You see, now the India-US relations has reached a new height, particularly following the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Donald Trump has categorically said that India and US will work together on diversified fields, starting from space research to fighting terrorism and jihadism. So this categorical statement of President Trump, when he referred to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on anything related to Bangladesh, is very significant. He not only said about Bangladesh, he was also categorically talking about cross-border terrorism. It may involve some other players also in this region. So this is very significant because it shows that the Trump administration has fullest confidence in Modi's government, Modi administration, and they understand that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government has done a lot of research and studies on this particular topic related to terrorism and jihadism within this region. So naturally, for fighting terrorism and jihadism and threats of violent attacks in this region, of course, Narendra Modi is the best person to decide the modus operandi. But it does not mean that what President Trump said, that he has left the matter only with President Modi. Rather, I could say that he has signaled that the matter related to issues of Bangladesh, Prime Minister Modi will decide and America will cooperate because US and India are together. So there is no room to think that Trump has given up the idea of taking care of Bangladesh issues. Rather, let's say Modi will play the lead role, the role of the leader, and United States is always with India, whether it is Bangladesh or any other country in the world.
Sir, and does it signify a difference in approach of the US as compared to previous Biden administration? Biden was, the administration led by Biden, they were viewed as interventionist and trying to call the shots, taking the lead even in South Asia, which India has traditionally viewed as its own backyard. So how different is this approach, taken by Trump as compared to Biden?
Biden's administration's approach was policies were to create chaos in various countries in the world. We have seen what they've done with Ukraine. We have seen what they've done with many other countries, including Bangladesh. So their sole ambition was to create anarchy and chaos in many countries and use those lands where they created chaos as a launchpad of hostility towards the neighboring countries. For example, by creating anarchy in Ukraine, they wanted to expand hostility towards Russia and make Ukraine a security threat to Russia. Similarly, they did the same thing with Bangladesh to turn Bangladesh into a potential security threat to India. And if you have seen very closely that in Ukraine, Biden's focus was again with the extremist forces, neo-Nazis and extremist forces. In Bangladesh, their allies were jihadis and Islamists. So the same playbook was active in both cases, in Ukraine, in Bangladesh, and many other places. And I think that Donald Trump has repeatedly said that Biden administration was responsible for pushing many countries in the world into chaos, and he had actually turned the whole world a chaotic place, and he was almost pushing the world towards third world war with
Sure.
his proxy war in Ukraine. So the world is saved with Trump's presidency, while we are looking forward to imminent resolution of the Ukraine conflict, peace in that part of the world, which is important for Russia's national security. And at the same time, I'm sure that now with the new approach, as you know, that Trump is not subscribing to the agendas and plots of Biden administration in Bangladesh. Also, I look forward, and I think it's a very good sign, good beginning, and actually, it is another strong message. You know that the Trump administration is also returning one terrorist of the Mumbai attack. So these are all signals that India and US are going to work together closely in unison for not only fighting extremist forces, jihadists and Islamists, they also are going to work together for world peace, global peace.
Sure. So, President Trump, during the joint presser, he categorically rejected the idea that the deep state had been involved or had anything to do whatsoever with the developments in Bangladesh. So you are one of the foremost experts and writers on the topic. You have, written extensively about deep state involvement and actors like George Soros in destabilizing Bangladesh and toppling of Hasina. So, do you think Trump is a bit misinformed, or is he misreading the situation as far as the deep state involvement in Bangladesh is concerned?
And not exactly by denying the involvement of deep state into what happened to Bangladesh. Actually, Trump doesn't want to tag the involvement of other players such as Soros and Clintons, etc. He doesn't want to also term them as a part of deep state. And at the same time, for any president, it is unwise to publicly admit that his country's deep state was involved in anarchy in Bangladesh, and also deep state was also involved in what happening in Ukraine everywhere. So I think this is a pretty kind of the diplomatic answer. At the same time, it has a clear significance. If Trump said that deep state was involved, then it was sole responsibility of Trump to resolve the crisis, to somehow solve the problem. But when he said deep state is not involved, meaning American government is not and not solely. It's not that matter that only American government should solve. It can get it solved by through his allies like India, because India is the best ally at this moment of the United States. So I think that this is a very diplomatic answer that we always expect from any head of the government, head of the state. But when he said that deep state was not involved, he did not utter a word about Bangladesh. He left the matter with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, meaning they have certain things that we may not know, we should not know, and people should not know publicly. But there are many things, one-on-one meeting behind the doors. So I think this is a very diplomatic, smart answer from President Trump, and it means that if deep state is not involved, then Trump is going to be even tougher. And another thing I'd like to mention here, that recently we are seeing that DOGE is continuing offensives on USA, for example. and other parties are also coming up, other names. So these are all part of deep state. We understand. But he is not categorically saying it's deep state, but he naming the player, USA, Soros. So we know these are all part. But he is not just generally saying America is not involved, America's deep state is not involved, but yes, USAID is responsible and this is responsible and responsible. In other words, this is Trump's smart answer, and it is also a very bad news for the Islamists and jihadis in Bangladesh, in some other countries who are trying to cause harm to the US, cause harm to India, and cause harm to the allies of Trump. Please remember, Donald Trump is also a friend and ally of many other heads of the state who were seen as enemies by the Biden administration.
For sure,
so
sir.
this is a yes. So this is a strong signal, and it shows that these actions are going to be real, cruel, and ruthless on the Islamists and jihadis.
So one last question before I let you go. We are seeing a significant debate on social media generated by what comments President Trump made during the joint presser with Modi. You are in Dhaka, you are observing everything firsthand. So, how's the reaction in Bangladesh, particularly among the Islamists? Is there a sense of fear now?
For Bangladeshi Islamists and jihadis, it was a lightning effect. It was more than a thunder. They were not prepared to hear Trump putting entire responsibility on Narendra Modi. He's putting his trust and responsibility of taking care of Islamists and jihadis in Bangladesh. It was a massive shock, and it is also it is a very strong message. So many other parties that we cannot mention here, but I think with Trump's this statement, of course, some elements will try to twist it and use this statement in their own way to somehow give a little bit of temporary comfort to the Islamists and jihadis and their followers in this country. But at the end of the day, they understand that this is the last word uttered by the President Trump. And you and I both know the strongness, firmness, determination of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And he may be a very soft-spoken person. And yesterday he was absolutely silent on Bangladesh issue. So means this silence bears the alarm for many people that they may not even.
Silence speaks more than words, I mean.
A storm is coming up. A strong, very, very strong storm is coming up for the Islamists and jihadis.
Thank you. Thank you for this interview, sir, and it was a pleasure having you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.